Loves. Welcome to chapter 3 of the Four Agreements. Dreaming. The function of the human mind is to dream, but we have learned to dream without awareness. From the Toltec perspective, your entire life has been a dream. You're dreaming right now with the brain awake, and you also dream with the brain asleep. I know this may be difficult to understand, but if you use your imagination, it will be very clear. Imagine a perfect mirror that reflects what exists outside of it. Of course, we cannot touch what is inside the mirror because it's only an illusion. What we see inside the mirror is virtual reality, and we know that it's not real. It's the same with the human mind. The retina inside the eye, just like a perfect mirror, everything you see right now is an image created in the retina of your eye. The difference between the mirror and your eye is what's behind the eye is the nervous system that analyzes and interprets everything we perceive. The eye, the brain, the mind work so perfectly together that they can swear the image is real. But what we see inside our mind is virtual reality created by images of light. This reflection of light is the dream. Light reproduces every image in our eye. It reflects every object, and because it can project an image in such perfect detail, we don't notice that it's light we perceive. The nervous system doesn't notice that we are dreaming. Light creates the human mind with all the different components, including the emotions, and it is nothing but a dream. The dream is ongoing everywhere, not just in humans, but in plants, in rocks, and everything because light puts all the information that comes from life inside each form of matter. Light is the messenger of life. It contains all information, all power, all possibilities, and all potential of life. Light comes from everywhere and fills everything. Different frequencies of light act as a mold or a blueprint for all the different forms of life. There's only one living being manifesting in billions of forms. We perceive light that comes from outside us, and that light creates the frame of the dream. But we also perceive light reflected in the virtual reality inside our mind. We perceive our own dream, which is also light. When our brain is asleep, the dream has the tendency to change rapidly because there is no frame. Whatever we put our attention onto, whoosh, our dream changes instantly. When our brain is asleep, everything is possible. We can fly and do all these wonderful things we cannot do when we are awake, and the reasoning mind makes our beliefs so rigid. When the brain is awake, we give form and direction to the whole creation, and we set it as a totality. With the frame, we have notion of time and space. We think of this day and this hour. The reasoning mind creates the illusions of time and space to justify the dream in our mind. Thinking is dreaming with a language. It is nothing but the effort of the mind to justify the dream. Time and space are an illusion. They are the virtual reality. All that exists is here and now. The old shamans would use hallucinogenic plants like peyote to distort the perception of the brain and give you awareness that you are dreaming. But imagine the brain is a perfect computer. If you pour a cup of coffee inside a computer, you will understand what happens when the human brain is given hallucinogenic drugs. What happens is that it malfunctions. The perception is no longer perfect. The colors mix, the stability changes, and suddenly it's obvious that the mind is running a program. It is dreaming. Your brain, your eyes, your mind your mind usually thinks so perfectly that if you see colors mixing, the reason in your mind tries to justify it by saying, I see God, I'm having a spiritual experience, but it's just a malfunction, and it shows us that our brain can create the illusion of the whole reality in this way. I never recommend taking drugs or using power plants because they can hurt the brain, and this is not the point. There is no need to hurt our brain to prove that we are dreaming. We are living in a world of billions of our kind who don't know that they're dreaming. Everyone also participating in a bigger dream, a society dream. Our dreams overlap, and we each dream a part of the entire dream, the dream of the planet, which is made by the projection of billions of personal dreams. Each of us lives in a virtual reality. We have no choice. The mind is programmed to dream. That can be so beautiful. If you meet someone and you hook his attention, you can start exchanging information, and soon you'll know a lot about that person's dream. You learn about his friends, what he does, his favorite movies, sports, you name it, depending on what that person projects to you. All of those different possibilities are there, and it's whole distinct reality that is ongoing and as real as any other one. It can be very exciting when we understand that we are dreaming. Why? Because as soon as we have the awareness that our dream is made of light, then we also know that we can change as fast as light, and our life starts changing right away. We know that we can change our beliefs anytime we need to change them, because we are no longer rigid. The worries in our life don't look real anymore. We know that it's a dream and it can shift. All the elements of the dream that used to be our knowledge, that used to be trapped inside the belief system, are no longer rigid. They are not the truth anymore, and we know that. Once we understand that we are dreaming, knowledge doesn't control our faith anymore. Instead, the opposite happens. Our faith controls our knowledge. Our faith controls our agreements and beliefs. We accept that it's our responsibility to change the dream if we don't like it, and we surrender to being responsible. Once we understand that we are dreaming, we know that everybody around us is also dreaming, with or without awareness. Then we realize that the point of view of other people that other people use to see the world has nothing to do with us. At this point, we no longer even try to take anything personally. We don't take anything personally because we know others are dreaming and it's only their point of view. Of course, people around us will take things personally. They will use their book of law to judge us and to judge everybody else. But now we don't even try to defend ourselves against the book of law. We know they are never going to believe what we say unless they change the way that they dream. We don't expect the people will understand us. They're still ruling their lives by their personal book of law, and they're still comparing notes with everybody else. We will understand them because we used to be the same way, but they will not understand us. At this point, we no longer make assumptions. We know that it's a fact that others are dreaming, and in their minds, whatever they say right now can change the next day or the next instant. The dreamer and the dream are constantly changing and shifting. So how can we make assumptions when we know everything is changing? We also know that we cannot make the assumptions that others are going to be what we want them to be. At this point, we only have two choices. We love them the way they are and respect all the changes in them, or we walk away. We are no longer attached to the outcome because we have our faith. Before we are aware that we are dreaming, we make assumptions constantly because knowledge has power over us. Once we have power over knowledge, there's no need to make assumptions. Knowledge becomes a tool that we use to communicate. We can ask, we can understand, we can express ourselves, we can listen to other people express their own dream. At this point, our whole life becomes magic. Miracles happen, and they happen all the time. There's only one thing we can use to guide our actions, reactions, and our interactions with all those dreamers who don't have awareness, and that is our integrity. Our integrity is who we really are, the totality of our own self. Those who are ruling their lives by the book of law have the illusion of integrity, but they don't really have it. Every time they reject themselves, it's a lack of integrity. Every time they believe they are not perfect, it's a lack of integrity. Every time they suffer, every time they get jealous or angry or envious, every time they create drama, they're going against themselves, and it's a lack of integrity. We recover our integrity when we are impeccable with our word. We lost our integrity the first time we broke our word, the first time we went against our own self. Self-betrayal is what breaks our integrity. From that point on, all our loyalty was to the book of law. Whatever goes against the book of law looks like it goes against our integrity, but that is not exactly true because we are using the book against our own self. We are using it for self-rejection, for all those agreements that lead us into emotional drama. Once we are aware that we are dreaming, the book of law is broken. We recover our integrity and we can feel it. Before the book of law is broken, we are not following our integrity. We are following the rules of the book. Concepts like guilt, blame, right, wrong, loyalty, and patriotism for the country all affect us very deeply because we believe in them. And this makes us very easy prey for manipulation by the dream of the planet. Even concepts like what is beautiful or ugly are agreements that control society and later control the individual mind. We give our power to those agreements. We become a slave to them. Then other people use those values to manipulate us. Once the book of law is broken, these values are no longer a tool of manipulation between humans. When you recover your integrity, you can no longer go to someone and ask him for his approval because you're asking for approval of this book of law. The only answer he can give to you is according to his book of law, which isn't any good to you. You need to trust yourself. You cannot go to someone and say, is what I'm doing right? Is what I'm doing wrong? No, you are alone, and thank God you are alone, because it means you are free to be yourself again, and your integrity will not allow you to go against yourself. You will know that you have recovered your integrity, and when you feel good, when you feel happy, every time you don't feel good is the result of self-judgment and the judgment of using the book of law to find you guilty. Now you are ashamed of yourself, and that's why you don't feel good. The four agreements help us align with our integrity. The first agreement, impeccability of the word, is completely aligned with our integrity. The second and third agreements, don't take anything personally and don't make assumptions, give us immunity to the book of law and to everybody else around us. With that immunity, we can be assured that the outside dream will not choose our beliefs for us again. And the fourth agreement, always do your best, is the engine that moves us forward. It's the action. The dream is alive and it can change as fast as light, as fast as life. When our awareness is there in the light instead of the fog, in our faith instead of our knowledge, we recover our faith, our will, and our power. And we find that we have the power to make choices, to take risks, to project, to perceive, to interact, and to master the dream. We can become a dream artist and create the most beautiful masterpiece of art, the dream of our life. To create a masterpiece instead of a nightmare, instead of emotional dramas, can be very exciting. But if we are not aware that it's a dream, there's no way to change the dream. Most people are born, grow old, and die, and never notice that all of the life is a dream. So they become trapped in their own nightmare. When we live without this awareness, something inside is telling us all the time, it's a dream, this can't be real. But we're not sure that it is a dream. It could be real. This reasoning mind is in virtual reality and it has no awareness that is in the virtual reality, so it tries to explain itself and make sense of everything. The reasoning mind always wants answers. Even if the answers are wrong, the answers make us feel safe. That is why humans make it all the assumptions, create all those theories and all that knowledge that is completely untrue. Look at the knowledge of European society 500 or 600 years ago and see a lot of books explaining the world of the angels, the world of the demons, life after death, going to heaven and going to hell. That mythology is beautiful, that art is beautiful, but it's not the truth. It's nothing but mythology. It's candy for the reasoning mind and it's far from the truth. But it provided a structure that made those humans feel safe. Yet that knowledge was also used to judge people, condemn people, and even kill them. How many people were killed during the Inquisition? How many people were burned to death because they believed to be witches or because they didn't believe the earth was the center of the universe? Humanity has progressed a lot just by having the awareness that the whole society is dreaming. You can see all the possibilities. You can see that we are going in the right direction. But of course, in order to change the whole society, we first have to change ourselves. A practice idea for mastering awareness for your authentic self. Once he knew what he really was, he looked around to the other humans and the rest of nature, and he was amazed at what he saw. Your integrity is who you really are, what you really are, the totality of your authentic self. Spend a few moments every day to get in touch with the memory of who you are. Allow yourself to imagine the possibility that you are made by a certain frequency of light. Light is the messenger of God. It contains all information, all possibilities, and all power. Imagine that you are made of light, of spirit. There is nothing you need to do. There is nothing you need to be except what you really are. Remember what you are, and the dream of your life will have no limits. All right. The next will be part 2, Mastering Transformation, and we'll do that in another video. Thank you for listening.